What's up, Elite Army? This is your kinda well, kinda toxic host, Sarah Rittendale, bringing you another episode of Wellish. Brenda Ridgley, welcome to Wellish. I'm so excited to have you here with me today.
Sarah, thank you so much for this opportunity. I am just really excited to be speaking to you and your followers.
Absolutely. I like to let my guests introduce themselves. If you want to tell me who you are, what you do, what your passion is in life, and what we're basically going to be talking about today.
Well, sure, absolutely. So, my name is Brenda Ridgley, and I am a certified wellness coach in the field of relationships and friendship. I'm an author also. I wrote the book Lady in the Tribe: How to Create Empowering Friendship Circles. And I hold women's retreats 3 or 4 times a year throughout. Breckenridge is our kind of big spot where we hit a couple times a year, but we've got Costa Rica this year. And so I'm just all about women's empowerment, especially in the midlife, especially for those women out there who've kind of lived a few years and just are kind of like maybe stuck in a rut or ready for something new, or maybe checked a lot of the boxes that life is supposed to be like, our successes. And then you go, oh, well, I've done all that. Well, now what? So, and my most favorite thing to talk about is feminine friendship and the need to create a tribe of support for yourself.
Awesome. Yeah, that's what I feel like. The friendship thing is so it's such a big idea, but I feel like when you're an adult it can obviously get kind of complicated to create those friendships. But I know that like in so many things that I've listened to, they always talk about communication, connection, having that sense of belonging with people is like one of the most important innate human needs. So obviously we need help. So like I said, calling upon you to help us figure out how to navigate those adult friendships and kind of figure that out for ourselves. But I'm curious just to get a little bit of your background. What did your friendships look like when you were young? Like, can you give me a little bit of a dynamic of like your experience in friendship growing up?
Sure, sure. Well, I think like many of us, as a child, even my parents kind of dropped me into friendship breeding grounds. Right? It wasn't like I had to do much. I was like, I'm kind of stuck here for a while. Let's either make friends or just be bored and lonely. So we naturally kind of develop friendships as children, and even throughout our teen years in high school and even college, we're kind of put in group situations where it's much easier to connect. You're hanging around with people that are doing the same things you're doing, and you strike up some friendships. So as a young adult, before I got married and all that great stuff, I had a very active social life and a really great network of friends to call on for different things, different areas of my life that I like to pursue. The funny thing is, once you get married, and this is a kind of scary statistic and maybe a cautionary tale for some of your listeners, is that once you get married, a lot of those connections just fall off the radar. As much as 50% or more
Wow.
you may never, after the big wedding where we bring all of our family and friends together, right?
Yeah.
After that moment, we have, yeah, we have this quick decline
Yeah.
because we get caught up in our busy lives and pursuing our careers, and then kids come along, and oh my gosh, that's a whole
Yeah.
blinders on.
Tunnel vision. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just to kind of, I'll just stop right there because your question was what was it like when I was younger?
Yeah, absolutely. I totally like that's a big thing with the marriage, I think. And again, like I was saying, like getting into adulthood and friendship, even if it's not marriage and kids and it's, you're pursuing career or you're doing whatever, you're so focused on yourself, we don't seem to take the friendships with us. You'll consider maybe a significant other, like we were saying, or family in big life decisions, but we never consider friends. And then it's kind of like this moment of, oh my God, I don't have any friends. What am I supposed to do with myself?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm curious, like what friendship means to you. Talk to me about your definition of it and why you think it's important.
Right. So that's great. I do have a definition. A friendship. There's friends, and then there's friendships. And I
Okay.
think that's a very different way to look at things because we have lots of friends, thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands, maybe social media friends and all that. This people that we, accept into our social networks and all that. All of those people are kind of considered friends, right?
For sure.
But friendship is actually a verb, adding kind of ship and movement to it. It means you have to actually do something to build and nurture a friendship. And a friendship requires time, attention, and enthusiasm. And we don't have a lot of time as we start adulting,
Hmm.
and we um, don't really give our attention very much to anything other than our devices and sometimes and work and whatever our roles. We kind of dive into our roles, and you mentioned we think about ourselves so much,
Hmm.
and that's how we lose friendships. And I think you can be mistaken in that way because we're doing our career and all these things for ourselves, but we dive, especially as women, dive into those roles as like we want to be the best, do the best, not need any help, da 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 da. And it consumes us to the exclusion of all the other things that we are.
Yeah.
So friendship, the third ingredient is that enthusiasm. I like to kind of describe it as if you're a parent, when your kids are young and you come home and they're like, oh, mommy, daddy, whatever.
Hmm.
Or you have a pet and they're always so excited to see you when you get home,
Hmm.
right? And it just feels good. That's why we keep them around.
Yeah, totally.
Because they give you this unconditional love.
Yeah.
Well, to our friendships, a lot of times we don't give them that kind of focus and attention.
Mm-hmm.
We're distracted when we are with them. We're on our devices, we get interrupted and all that. And we just need to make sure we have an intentional insertion of, oh my gosh, I'm so happy to be with you here right now. This is such a treat for me. Yay, hug, squeezes. And because that enthusiasm just keeps them coming back for more if it's important to you.
Okay. So are those three ingredients I'm going to ask you right off the bat, kind of what you put into your book about how to empower and up and create these friendships? Is that what you would do? Is these three steps?
That's the first step. If you want to,
Oh, okay.
that's the first step. If you want to build a friendship, it requires those three ingredients.
Okay.
But then beyond that, it depends how. I think that every one of us needs to have 2 to 5 besties or people in our lives who really know us
Hmm.
and love us, but don't need anything from us.
Oh, I love that.
You
That
know
you're
what I
not
mean?
benefiting off of somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So like, our family loves us, absolutely. And we can count on them, but they frequently need something from us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yeah.
ask something from us
And
or
need
expect.
something, even if it's just like like a attention, or like what do you mean? Like what would be a good example of somebody needing something from you? That's
Oh
common,
yeah,
you
well,
think?
absolutely. So keeping a schedule or doing, showing up at things for people, getting your husband's stuff ready for a trip or doing
Okay.
the laundry or, it's like I said, they love us very much, but there's always the things attached to that. And that's what happens in a family. It's expected.
Right.
But isn't it lovely to have someone in your life that just loves you because you.
I love that. And that to me, that makes it connect for your enthusiasm piece, because I would picture that you have to have somebody that you want to be enthusiastic about. I feel so much of the time we have friends in our lives that are just kind of like, eh, you're all right. You fill the space in a sense, for lack of better words. But it's not somebody that you're genuinely excited to talk to and you feel good around, you feel you can be your full authentic self with. So you
Right.
would have to figure out how to make those friends in order to pursue those steps that you're talking about.
Right. And then so you bring up a great point. There's a lot of people out there that you're like, oh, great. Hey, it's really nice to see you. Well, it's good to catch up.
Yeah.
But those 2 to 5 besties, they are ones that you need to invest in. What I mean by that is create an intention. Absolutely. They need to be added to your calendar,
Yeah.
because if you don't, busy lives will take us
Yeah.
away. We will neglect these important people in our lives.
Hmm.
But so being intentional to get together on a monthly basis, eyeball to eyeball, hug, squeezes, if possible. If not, it just being Zoomable and being able to see each other and see expressions, because there's so much communication that you can't get through a text or
Yeah.
an email or even a phone. Phone calls are great. And I'm a big advocate of, rather than texting, pick up the phone once in a while so
Yeah,
you
I agree.
can hear someone's voice. But
Hmm.
making these deposits over time, and by doing this over time, you're going to be expanding on the vulnerability that you allow and feel comfortable with this person, and they with you. And this vulnerability piece is what creates those deep, meaningful bonds. This is where you actually feel like you know where you belong, because this is a safe place. They know my life.
Hmm.
They know not only the good stuff that I put out on social media every day and all the positive stuff, they know my heart. They know my fears. They know maybe the things that I think I failed at.
Hmm.
And I know their life as well. I know the muck that they're having to deal with, and they know mine. So we can commiserate and help each other in that area, the stuff that we don't just go out and tell everybody about.
Sure. How would you say you pick those 2 to 5? Like, I feel a lot of the time we just think it will come naturally. We're just kind of letting whoever come into our life and we give them a shot. And if it works out, great. If it doesn't, see you later. Is
Yeah.
there a tactic that you think to use?
Yeah, that's a great friendship myth, that this should all just happen organically, because it just doesn't. It does
Hmm.
not. Even when we were children, we were put into those situations.
Right.
Again, it's just you're going to want to do things like explore some of the interests maybe that you've let go of
Hmm.
since you became a career woman, or really dove into something, to the neglect of your social connections.
Hmm.
You're going to want to kind of get back out there, get around people. And I always just say the first step is, what did you used to do that you love to do? You know, and then find a meetup group or a club or whatever, and start showing up, because you're going to meet
Yeah.
people who like doing the same things you do.
Yeah.
And, first step, people are like, oh, it's so weird to meet new people. And it's so weird to like try to take it to the next level. What do I do? So they don't do anything. Right.
Hmm. Yeah. For
Um,
sure.
but it's really not weird. I guess we're playing on our own insecurities and fear of rejection. Right.
Hmm.
But I always say, show up to a place a couple times, an interest that you're exploring, yoga, hiking, whatever. And instead of going with the intention of being interesting so people will like you, show up with the intention of being interested.
I love that. That is so true. Oh my God. You're taking
Yes.
the control of the situation compared to just leaving it up to everybody else to control your life.
Yeah,
Yes.
and talking someone's ear off, because guess what? There's not that many great listeners out there anywhere. So you just show up and say, "Hey, yes, we're both here at this yoga class. How I love yoga. What do you love about it?"
Yeah.
And you
Oh,
start there.
I love that. And people love to talk about themselves. So
They
that's so
love to
true.
talk. It's a fast track to friendship,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And that's just a first step. And you're going to kind of figure out if you kind of vibe together or not. And that's
Hmm.
how you that's how you start your weeding out process, because only a few people get to make your tribe.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
a coveted position. It's not like, would you be in my tribe? Oh my gosh, it's, do they get to be in your
Yeah.
tribe?
Yeah. I love that idea of not feeling like you have to prove yourself to be good enough to other people, because it's just such a default mode that I think happens for so many of us, that we think, oh, like, I just want them to like me. I just have to figure it out so that I can make friends. And you're not thinking of, who am I selecting? I'm the one that's going to be brave enough to choose who I want in my life, because then everything else falls into place. Like you say, then you can be enthusiastic about that friend and you can have fun with them and not have these heavy expectations that you're supposed to meet certain responsibilities or certain standards in order to maintain the friendship. So I
Right.
think that that's so crucial that you're saying that. I love
Right,
it.
right. It's all about just your own self-respect. And, we have very limited time. So you have to be choosy, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Not
Mm-hmm.
everybody makes the tribe.
It's just like a relationship. You're not going to just like let some random person into your life and settle for some random person. We hope to think that we're selecting a partner. It would be no different with friendships in our life. And I think
Yeah.
we always think it does.
Yeah, absolutely. And all the other friends are important as well. I've created what I call the friendship target,
Hmm.
which starts with, you as you are the leader of your tribe. Even if you don't feel like you're a leader, you are the center and the core and the heart of your tribe. Because when I say tribe, I don't mean, 3 to 5 gals that go clubbing together. I mean your support network. They may not even know each other, but in this area of my life, this is my person. In this area of my life, this is my person. And it's great for those married folks out there that kind of think their spouse is their best friend. Well, that's great. I think we should have more than one best friends. And I think that's lovely. But I think that's a lot of pressure for one person. I think we need to spread that out so that, if my husband or partner doesn't have the same interests I do, I don't have to just squish those forever or
Yeah.
drag them along. I
Yeah.
find someone else who loves that, and they're my person for that, and they're my tribe.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a good tip too, that you got to find who, is fits into whatever category of your life. They don't, it's not supposed to be some like movie-esque group friendship. And I think that that's another thing that, like you're talking about friendship myths. Another one that I think is we have this expectation that friendship is going to be the same as it was when we were kids, like that you're just going to be dropped into this group like at school and friendship is just going to come to you. And it's not that way. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Right. Well, yeah. So that's the fallacy, is that we have this expectation that we think, what's wrong with me because I don't have this network of people because
Yeah.
they don't like me or whatever, and that's why we get all weird about it. But it's just not the truth. It's just not. Everybody has a busy life, and it takes intention and
Yeah.
decision. You
Hmm.
can't go on autopilot on the treadmill of life
Hmm.
and just keep and expect that people are just going to show up. You
Hmm.
have to go. And in fact, I encourage my clients to kind of write out and journal and design the friends they want. If they need someone, an exercise friend to help motivate them and keep them on track, kind of just journal what that person uh, acts like and does and how they make you feel. And what, you can even go as far as to say describing what they look like and just pre-paving what you're looking for. And that is an energetic action that is creative in this creative world that we are in.
Hmm.
And you are kind of activating the law of attraction.
Hmm. I've heard that you should do that because if anything, it brings it to your attention, brings it to the forefront of your mind. So you write the person down, like using your example, you want to find an exercise partner. What is that person like? What do they look like? What do they do for fun? How do they speak? What characteristics do they have? And then you can look for them out in life. See if you go to the exercise class and be like, huh, that person seemed to mention something that was on my list.
Then you'll
Mhm.
see, when you see them, you'll recognize them and go,
Yeah.
there she is, or there he is, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah.
such good advice. I love that. I'm wondering when friendships start to kind of go awry, what would be some signs of a friend that you maybe don't want to keep around in your life?
Right. So, friendships have different lifespans. They're not all going to be lifelong. Those are only a select, very few people are going to be lifelong friends, and that's okay. We get
Yeah.
just knowing that that's kind of normal and okay. That's great. Um, there's friends out there that are always the one that needs something, or always kind of like an energy vampire.
Hmm.
They you're going to know because the way they make you feel.
Yeah. I was going to say, I feel like sometimes it's not even like they're intentionally doing something wrong or being a bad person or whatever. It's just for you, they just suck your energy.
Yeah, if they suck your energy, or you just aren't aligned with your
Right.
your goals may totally go out of alignment, and you're going to just recognize those signs. And it's not that they're a bad person or anything like that, and it's not like you have to break up with them.
Hmm.
You just kind of are less available
Yeah, absolutely.
to them over time. I
Yeah.
mean, there's probably on occasion where you have to just kind of be direct and say, "Hey, our goals and values aren't aligning anymore,
Hmm.
and I will always care for you and love you, and let's stay connected, but not in the daily, every week, monthly, whatever. Let's take a break, or just kind of that's just where I'm feeling right now." And
Yeah.
being direct and honest is hard. I know. I know that's really hard for a lot of people, but you're really doing both a service to yourself and to them to
Absolutely.
kind of communicate what's going on for you.
I also think that if it got to the point that you had to be direct and honest in that way, there's probably a lot happening in the friendship that is almost makes it justifiable that like both people will be aware that there's stuff that isn't really working between the two of you compared to a friendship that maybe you just make yourself less available to that person because they didn't do anything. It's just not somebody that you necessarily want to spend time with. You're not going to feel like you have to be that way. I guess that's not always true, but
Well, it just kind of depends. How important is this person in my life? And
yeah.
one example is like someone that's in your family, maybe a relative of some sort that you kind of have to be congenial with on occasion or whatever. But do you have to be with them all the time, or spend a lot of time? Those are the kinds of ones you like want to be less available for. I'm not saying you should be less available for family, but it's just an example. Maybe a sister-in-law or something that you just don't really connect with, and you
If you
kind
don't
of
click with them, it is what it
yeah.
is. Yeah.
But you want to like they're not going to leave your life, so you
Right.
have to kind of be less available for the things besides Thanksgiving and whatever that where it's a family function.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to talk to you too about the connections on the internet. Something that I think comes up for me a lot in my life is having friends that are maybe more upset because I'm not texting them all the time or I'm not sending them reels. And I think that, and then I have other friends that, don't need that constant communication, which is kind of more of the category that I fall into.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering what your opinion is on how much communication you think we, should be in contact with each other. Obviously, before phones were a thing, you saw your friends when you made plans, or maybe you write letters to each other from a distance or something like that. So it's much less communication. So how much does that play into your ability to have a deep connection with somebody?
Yeah.
And is it possible to, have that connection if you're not in constant contact with them?
Yes, it is possible. What I recommend is like for your tribe, those people that you've deemed that they're important people in your life. I really believe in a strong effort to get together
Yeah.
monthly at least.
Hmm.
And I try to create things every month where maybe I have a little what I call women who wine, or host a little happy hour where everybody can just show up just to see them. But I also want to see people one on one. If they're in my tribe, I want to see them as much as possible, at least monthly.
Hmm.
But between events and stuff, that's when the texting and dropping of an encouraging message or a phone call or email or whatever it is that you're using, reels, that's kind of the drip system of friendship, in my opinion.
Okay.
For the friendships that are more on the outskirts, what I call the kindred clan, people
Hmm.
that are in your community, that in your circles of networks of friendship. It kind of, if they're not your tribe and they're kind of asking for those, having those expectations of you, it sounds like, I guess I would recommend that you just kind of just say, hey, I care about you and I don't want to upset you, but this is kind of how I roll. And I'm
Hmm.
not really, I don't communicate that way all the time. But this is just kind of let them know what you can expect.
Yeah.
I'll probably reach out on every other week or once a month, and that's what you can expect from me. And that's just because my busy life. And I still don't take that I'm not sending you a message personally. It's not about you.
Right.
It's about me.
Yeah.
And it's not because you're not important. Just let them. If there's someone that's giving you some pushback on more, and you're not wanting to go there, I would just tell them what to expect. And if that's going to work for them, great. And if it's not, then well,
It's not the friendship for you.
that's
And
what
that
I
kind of
got.
falls into what we were talking about before.
Yeah.
I think that is so true that it really coincides with what we were talking about at the beginning with making that intention. And I don't know, I guess I never thought that you really needed to do that before. Like I'm never, not before this, but probably like recently, I'm realizing that you do. You have to put it on your calendar, like you're saying, and you just have to like actually make the effort to nurture those friendships, compared to just thinking, like we were talking about, that it will come naturally and you don't have to make any effort or try.
Right. Well, yeah, it's very important to nurture the 2 to 5 that are your people,
Hmm.
because that is the family you choose,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I feel like, so kind of on a different topic, I feel like we don't give enough credit to how much that really can hurt and how much that can impact us and our healing process and our interactions with friends in the future. What is your opinion on that?
Oh gosh, I mean, that is a great question and a huge issue for so many women. And a lot of women that I work with have been hurt. They kind of, what I call feel a little jaded about women and
Hmm.
friendship because they've, shared, maybe they feel too much, got hurt, and they're just not going back.
Hmm.
And so have you ever heard, oh, most of my friends are guy friends,
Hmm. Yeah.
right?
Right.
And I get it. We've all been there, right? We've all been hurt on occasion, but there are strategies to prevent that from ever happening. And I talk to my clients and have a whole process of what I call an upfront contract that you have. It's just having a conversation. Once you get past the initial niceties and you've decided you want to, pursue deepening a friendship with someone, and when you start thinking you're going to tip your toe in that vulnerability pool, then you just kind of have a coffee or a lunch and you have a conversation with them and just say, I really and have enjoyed hanging out with you. And I really would like to pursue, being a more deep and meaningful connection with you, a true friendship that could become lifelong. But here's what's happened to me in the past, and it was hurtful, and maybe my friend didn't even really mean to hurt my feelings, but it did, and it ruined the friendship. And I just wanted to have this conversation to kind of know, to tell you, like when I share something with you, I kind of expect for it to stay between us unless I say differently.
Hmm.
And you can expect that from me as well.
Hmm.
This is just having that conversation so that if the opportunity came up that they would want to share something about, oh, Brenda's going through a tough time right now. And no, no, even if we really need to be there to support her, well, I didn't want that. I wanted
Yeah.
her to know that, but she thinks she's helping me. But kind of just setting ground rules, unless I say, just please don't share what I share with you unless we have a conversation that says,
I
oh yeah,
said it's okay.
I need more support,
Yeah.
that kind of
Yeah.
thing. And you know what? Nobody's writing, signatures. And I don't mean like that by contract, but it's providing just a structure, and it creates a safe space for both friends to explore going deeper
Yeah.
without fearing something coming back and going, oh, didn't expect that to happen. Ouch.
Hmm. Would you say that you should put as much effort into a friendship as you would a relationship?
Well, as much, I mean, as like a partner with your
Yeah,
partner.
because like that's kind of what that sounds like to me. Just that like
Oh,
you want to
it's
make sure
serious.
that you're talking through everything and being open and all of those things. And I always think it's funny how we put this like a relationship, like we've got to do all this work and do all the things, but then our friendships you kind of just throw to the wayside.
Right. Well, when I'm going to say yes and no. I mean, your partnership is your person that you live life with
Hmm. Hmm.
daily, daily, daily. But I think the friendships that you decide are tribe and those few people that really get into your heart, yes, I think that the communication wise, that's the magic spot is
Yeah.
when they really know your struggles and what you're thinking. And oh my gosh, being direct when you feel or you're taking something one way and you think that's a little off, instead of just like tacking it into a little filing cabinet in your brain and later going, oh, you did this and this and this and this. And I hate it when my husband does that too. But no, just like, you know what? That hit me a little like this.
Hmm.
I felt you doing an I statement said, if you did that, I felt this when that happened. And like, can we talk about that? Was that your intention or what? Where were you coming from with that? And
Hmm.
that is so healthy. And
Yeah.
yes, we want to do that with our friendships as much because friendships are much more vulnerable
Yeah.
a partnership because we don't have the contract. We don't
Interesting.
have
Okay.
this process. We don't have all of the other stuff that's built into a partnership that, someone, a friend says something or does something that I thought was like at me or like against me. And I go, she's just a friend. I don't need that. I'm
Hmm.
out of here. That's another thing to discuss in the friendship contract conversation is that, this is what you're important to me. And I want to be able to tell you when something, because this is a relationship that because we're so real, we are gonna probably not always agree on
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
And when that happens, I'm committing to you that before I just say, I'm out of here, I'm gonna I'm gonna say something to you
Hmm.
and give you the opportunity to have a conversation about it before we just say that's it, right?
Yeah.
Because you're that important to me that I will. That's because that's hard. That is hard to have that conversation and bring this up when I'm not sure what it is. I might just,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
I'm going to do that hard thing for you. I'm committing to that. Would you do that would you agree to that as well?
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a good question to make sure that they're doing the same thing back to you because I think that that's such an important question too that you keep saying is how important is the relationship to you? That if you ask yourself they do something and then you go, yeah, I could definitely live without this friendship. I don't really care. Then it's kind of like why are you putting so much energy and effort into it when you could be putting that energy and effort into A, finding friends that you do want to give that to, or B, the relationships that you already do have with friends.
Right. And we're all going to have those moments in all friendships when you go, oh my gosh, I'm done, but that's just, you got to like, okay, wait, no, this isn't, take a step, take a minute, take whatever you need. And sometimes you have to say to a friend, hey, I love you, or, I really care for you. And this thing that just happened really got to me. And
Mm-hmm.
I just need a week. I just need a month to
Mm-hmm.
really process this. And then I want to talk to you about it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes there's big things.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a big thing. And you can't just say, okay, that was my contract with you. We're going to talk about it. Yeah. It doesn't mean you have to talk about it immediately, but it's important to say that you're feeling a certain way and you need some time to reflect on it and to give them a timeline and not just say one day I'm going to circle back and talk to you about it, because that's a really tough spot to be in for both of you, especially
Mm-hmm.
the person who's like, I'm not even sure what I did or whatever, and I didn't
Mm-hmm.
mean anything by it, so I really want to just say sorry, but I need time. But so give them a time frame, a week, a month, whatever
Mm-hmm.
that looks like for you, that you can commit to say, and then do it. Follow up.
Yeah.
Even if you've decided I got to move on,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
You still have to say something. You
you
can't
still
ignore
have
the
to come back and
problem.
say, this, didn't sit well with me, and this is why. And it's just, we're not in alignment at this time in our life. And, that's where I'm
Gotta let
at.
it go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think too, like that makes it less like hectic for yourself and maybe for the other person because you're not on this cliffhanger. You're not like, oh, are we friends? Are we not friends? Are we fighting? Is it awkward if I see them somewhere? Is it going to be uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Because you're very honest and open about the stage that you're at. And maybe, when you see them, it would be uncomfortable if you're in between your month or whatever that you're taking from them. But that they'll come back and talk to you and you told them that and you can trust that they'll do that. So, and if they
Yeah.
don't, that's kind of not nice either.
Right. That's right. Yeah. I mean, when you set it up right, if you're taking a month to let it settle, I mean, this has happened in my own life, and you happen to see them at a get together, I can just go up and give them a squeeze and say, it's good to see you.
Yeah, for sure.
And then just keep mingling. That's not a like, okay, we're good. It's just like, it's good to see you. I look forward to our chat or catch up in a couple weeks.
Yeah, that's so real too. That you would think that you do that and you're like, oh, am I telling that person that that's okay how they treated me? And it's no, it's being civil and just being yourself and being kind and loving. And that's who you are. So you're going to show up as that person and, addressing that we're still going to talk about it in a couple weeks. I'll
Right.
talk
And
to you.
that is really the beauty of what I'm teaching in tribe and creating those circles of friendships and support, is that in that space, you get to be 100% authentic.
Yeah.
And that is where we feel the most joy in our life, is when we are just completely, we're not trying to fit into other people's tribes or fit
Hmm.
into wherever. And in a lot of situations, we need to fit in our profession, and we need to fit in, in a church or whatever organizations you're a part of, and you kind of fit in and you just do the things they do. But
Hmm.
your tribe is your place where you are you.
Yeah. It is such a different perspective to say, I'm choosing my tribe. I'm not trying to fit in somewhere. I'm not trying to belong. I'm not trying to prove myself. I'm not trying to be good enough. I'm taking control of my own life and my own friendships and showing up in the places that I think my ideal friend would be. And once I'm in those places, setting the intention to make conversation, ask them about themselves, see how, if you guys can communicate, and then make the effort from there. And that it's not going to be something that just magically shows up in your life and butterflies and rainbows and you guys are going to be wonderful friends forever.
Absolutely. Like anything important in your life, it requires your attention.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, I want to know if you have a theory as to why women have a harder time making friends than men.
I do. I think so. I mean, actually, that's a great question because I haven't been asked that before. But just off the top of my head, what I think is that women are natural collaborators and connectors and need and love being with people more so than men. Maybe, men. Not all men. I hate to be so like general, but their and my own husband's idea of friendship is like, you don't see him for 6 months or whatever, and you get back together and everything's great. And we all have those friends, but they just don't need that regularity to feel that their sense of belonging. They are very in tune to their roles and driven by their roles, and
Mhm.
just feel like good because of those. And that sense of belonging is about what they do and how they provide for their family and all that good stuff. Whereas we are social beings, and we love we're just more communicators, and that we need that.
Yeah. Would you say that women enjoy those deep connections where maybe men are more surface level? Or I don't, again, it's kind of hard to categorize everybody into one lump group, but
Yeah,
I just feel like women care more about having that deeper connection. Like my boyfriend will go to the gym and make 15 friends that they just fist bump every time they're there and
yeah.
maybe say what up to each other, but aren't confessing all of their life secrets and problems and dreams and hopes with that person.
Right. Well, I read a study that when asked what friendship meant to them, women usually say, friends that I know and spend time with and share my heart with and do fun things with it, all that. And when the men were asked, the guys that I see at the gym, the guys that I play around a golf with,
Right.
so that's fulfilling for them.
Hmm.
And we just need more. We're
Yeah.
built to belong.
I love that. To close things, I like to play a game with my guests. So if you're into that, I call it kind of toxic, kind of well. Essentially, I like to play the game with them because I think it shows that these seemingly really healed, wonderful people do also have things that maybe they struggle with a little bit. Bring some humanness to you. So if you're down to play, I have these couple questions for you.
Oh, sure. Let's do it.
Okay, what or who are you jealous of?
Oh, jealous. Wow. Okay. I don't know of a specific person, but I think women who just seem to have got this all figured out already and are doing what I want to be doing,
Hmm.
and maybe felt like they got some break that I'm like, I need that break.
Hmm.
I do go to a jealous place and
Yep.
I'm doing the things I'm doing. Um, so I can't think of a specific person,
That's
but
a good answer. I
there's a
relate to
lot
that.
of them.
Yeah, for sure. When is the last time you people pleased instead of doing or saying what you really wanted?
Oh boy. I would say I probably do that mostly with maybe my parents, my mother-in-law,
Hmm.
because I
It's
just
easier.
want to make them happy.
Yeah, that's everybody's answer. Everybody's
Yeah,
answer always
yeah,
comes
yeah,
back to
yeah.
family on that
Yeah.
one. What is the last thing you forgave yourself for?
Oh boy. That's a really good question. I forgive myself for being a little disorganized. I kind of work from this flow of whatever I want to do next, which is beautiful. But sometimes I don't, sometimes I feel like, what did I really accomplish? Even though it may have been a lot because of the flow and without, I should have a checklist and a structure and and have it organized just right to do the most important things first. And so I kind of forgave myself about 6 months ago about I was kind of beating myself up, not having a system, not being organized. And I said, you know what, this is really a gift that I can work from this place. So just embrace it.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you find yourself overthinking about?
I overthink a lot of details on things like my retreats. I want to make them the most wonderful, empowering, perfect place for someone to reconnect and grow and learn and come out feeling just this new joy for life, get excited about their life again. And I'm like, all these little details, down to, do I have enough wine glasses and should I put a little marker on each of them? I get really detail oriented when it comes to things like entertaining or, taking care of people.
What is a should you have let go of?
Oh boy. Which one? Let me show. Wow. That I should do things like everybody else. I should, use my business and master's degree more intentionally. I think it's all working in there somehow.
Yeah.
Let it go.
What do you not have empathy for?
I don't have empathy for people who, that's really generally, if they aren't trying and if they don't contribute in some way with who they are, because I think we're all here on this earth with a specific gift to share with the world. And there are people that haven't maybe figured that out and don't try hard enough to figure it out and just kind of, I don't want to say sponge or whatever, and just kind of let other people take care of them.
Sure.
There are people that need to be taken care of. So I need a caveat, and that's absolutely okay and needed. And we want to take care of everybody we can, but the capable people that don't try.
But I absolutely hear what you're saying too, that if you think that something you want to change from, you want change in your life, but you're not going to do anything about it. I get that. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Who is your best self and what is your perception of that person?
I am a connector. I love connecting people to each other, to resources, to tools that will help them become their best selves, make their lives easier and more joyful. I just love helping people just feel good about themselves and find their power.
Last one, if you could give one piece of advice to somebody trying to improve themselves or become more well than toxic, what advice would you give them? Self-care.
And your podcast is so great.
Thank you.
Because we have neglected ourselves as much as we've neglected our friendships many times. And it's been said so many times, but you cannot fill other people up from an empty cup. You must take care of yourself. And it's not a waste of time. It's not a waste of money to invest in yourself.
Amen. I love that. Brenda, where can people find you?
Okay. Yeah. My website, BrendaRidgley.com, or at Living Whole You with Brenda Ridgley on Facebook, at Brenda Ridgley almost everywhere. And can I give your listeners a free gift?
Absolutely. You can give them a free gift. I'm so excited.
Okay. Well, let me the ones who can see.
Absolutely.
Lady in the Tribe, How to Create Empowering Friendship Circles. It's a best-selling and award-winning book. And you can get a free downloadable copy on my website at BrendaRidgley.com/free book. So I'd love to have you to get a copy of it.
Absolutely. I'll put it in the description of the show below because, I'm going to have to read it. I love that. And absolutely, I'm happy you're sharing it with everybody. So that makes me happy.
Thank you. There's lots more tips in there about how to create a tribe.
Yeah, I appreciate you being here so much. I feel so much more empowered to make friendships. You laid it out in a way that makes it feel so simple. It might not be easy, but it feels a lot more simple to go out there and get it and take control of your own life and your own friendships. So I appreciate what you're doing and that you're here talking to us today.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for having me. This is a great platform.
Thank you.